The second episode opens with Rhaenyra Targaryen returning home on her dragon Moondancer, a pale green, exceptionally fast and agile female dragon. She carries the lifeless body of Jacaerys Velaryon, who had been killed by a storm of arrows while struggling in the water. When Rhaenyra sees her son, she cannot accept what is plainly before her eyes. She calls out to him, demanding to know what he has done, as though he has simply done something wrong rather than died. The answer she desperately needs never comes. She crumbles to her knees beside his body, overcome with sobbing, her hands raised helplessly as grief floods through her, and she does not know where to put it. Sir Laurent Marbrand, the Queensguard knight who had earlier confined her to her chambers, attempts to pull her away from her son's body. She breaks free of his grip and turns her rage on him and the entire small council. Sir Laurent kneels before her and confesses that he has failed her, drawing his sword and offering his head if it would bring her any peace. Rhaenyra dismisses the gesture bitterly, asking what purpose his death would serve and whether it could restore her son to life. Overwhelmed and furious that the council obeyed Jace's orders to lock her away and keep her from the fighting, she returns to cradle her son's body and weeps. The scene shifts to Daemon and his men celebrating out in the field until news of the Crown Prince's death reaches them. Daemon announces it plainly to those around him. The Crown Prince is dead. He declares that he is now summoned to King's Landing to claim the Iron Throne for their queen, and orders his forces to march south and meet him there. Back at Dragonstone, Rhaenyra is in a terrible state when Daemon arrives at her chambers. She lies in bed consumed by grief, torturing herself with the thought that her sons have died simply so she can sit on a throne made of swords. Daemon, understanding that ordinary comfort will not reach her, switches to High Valyrian and shares a vision with her, then invokes the words her father Viserys once spoke to her. If it were true, what would she do? The question gives her pause and begins to pull her back from the edge. Daemon then delivers the news that changes everything. Vhagar has been spotted leaving King's Landing and flying toward the Riverlands. The Red Keep has been left exposed. Something inside Rhaenyra shifts the moment she hears this. The grief does not vanish, but she sets it aside. Without hesitation, she makes up her mind. She announces she is flying to King's Landing at once. Her council is alarmed. Lord Bartimos warns her that the Velaryon forces are scattered, and she will have no army to back her, and that attempting to enter the castle by dragon sounds very much like walking into a trap. Rhaenyra's reply cuts through all of it. If it is a trap, then so be it. She has had enough of waiting and talking. She has spent years being measured and strategic, and patience has taken her sons and her allies from her one by one. The window is now, and she intends to use it. She instructs her new dragon riders to serve as her escort. The matter is settled. Before she mounts Syrax, she gives her riders their orders with complete authority. They are to fly wide, keep watch, and prevent anything from approaching through the sky. She calls her dragon. Syrax responds, and Rhaenyra states with quiet resolve that today King's Landing will receive its queen. Meanwhile, Aemond has ridden Vhagar to Harrenhal. The dragon burns everyone in sight on the approach, and Aemond dismounts with his sword drawn, expecting to find Daemon waiting for a fight. Instead, he finds Sir Simon Strong and a few companions calmly seated at a meal, entirely unbothered. Aemond wants blood, and discovering Daemon is not there, wants to fight anyone at all. Sir Simon, composed and unhurried, suggests there must be some other way to find satisfaction. Before he can finish the thought, Aemond stabs him and proceeds to kill everyone else in the room, almost everyone. When he turns, he sees Alice Rivers standing there and simultaneously realizes he has been struck from behind. He falls heavily, bleeding badly, and begs the woman to help him. She watches him collapse face down on the stone and does nothing. When Rhaenyra and Daemon reach King's Landing, the guards at the entrance to the Red Keep lay down their weapons without a fight. Rhaenyra observes with quiet surprise that Alicent kept her word. Daemon cautions her that the real challenge lies ahead. She turns to the watching crowd and tells them she has come to make things right. Inside, a group of Kingsguard knights charges them. Daemon cuts through them all without difficulty, calling out to anyone else in the building who dares to stand against them in their own house. A few more try. They fare no better. The party reaches the throne room and finds it empty. Daemon guides Rhaenyra forward, addressing her as Your Grace, and they share a brief moment, hands clasped, before she steels herself and moves toward the Iron Throne. A line of Kingsguard knights immediately steps between her and the seat, and when she draws her sword, they laugh at her. The laughter dies when the gold cloaks pour in from behind them. Sir Luther Largent announces that the City Watch remembers Daemon as one of their own, and therefore they stand with Rhaenyra as the true and rightful heir. While this plays out inside, Helaena, Alicent, and the young Jacaerys slip out of the castle in cloaks, attempting to disappear into the city undetected. With the Kingsguard removed, Rhaenyra gives her first command as Queen in the Red Keep: bring Aegon the Usurper before her. When it becomes clear that Aegon has already fled the city, a different prisoner is produced instead. Everyone is stunned when Otto Hightower, Alicent's father and the former Hand of the King, is brought up from the dungeons, where he has apparently been held since his last appearance. Rhaenyra is visibly shaken by the sight of him. Daemon, by contrast, can barely conceal his delight. Otto surveys the room and asks flatly whether everyone else is dead. Daemon leans close to Rhaenyra and urges her to use Otto in Aegon's place, noting that the crowd is watching and that a queen cannot be seen to waver. Rhaenyra is wavering, and Otto can see it clearly. Tired of the tension and reading the inevitability of the situation, he tells her to let Daemon do it, asking only not to be butchered clumsily. Even in his final moments, he cannot resist twisting the knife, musing aloud that her father could never have imagined things coming to this. Rhaenyra orders him to say nothing more. Daemon moves in close and murmurs to her that this is the moment she becomes queen, though Rhaenyra in that instant looks as though she might fall apart entirely. She moves behind Otto as the watching crowd presses closer. Her first attempt fails. She is weeping openly, undignified and raw, and takes a second swing. The second one finishes it. As Otto's head falls, Daemon kills Lord Jasper Wilde in the same breath. There is a great deal of blood on the floor as Rhaenyra walks toward the throne. She steps through it, leaving a trail of red footprints up the steps. She pauses at the top, resting her hand on the seat for a moment, as though testing whether it is real, then lowers herself into it. This is not a glorious coronation. It is exhausted, tear-stained, and brutal. She looks like someone who has paid an almost unbearable price to get here. Daemon watches her from below, his expression unreadable and calculating. At that moment, guards bring Alicent and Helaena forward. They were caught before they could escape the city. Alicent takes in the scene before her, her father dead on the floor, her old friend sitting tearful and resolute on the Iron Throne, and the episode ends.